Peace, peace, peace. Love, soul. God bless anyone tapped in, tuned in. Um, I'm live. Cause I don't know if she's live. I don't have. Sorry. I'm not taunting. I'm not taunting. That's not what I'm doing. I can't even react to this Kanye. I was gonna. All right, so we're live. Sorry, I got a show to run here, but you should be the co-host to my soulmate. To my soulmate, you should be the co-host. Um,
This is Who's the Best Parent beta.
nope. What was that one guy's name? Xavier. Is it? No. What's his name? What's his name? I don't even know his name, but don't these guys have a song together? His name's not Trevor Noah. This guy.
Your father knows about saving money. Everything I'm wearing, I've had since boot camp.
Wait. Nah. Wait, hold up. I haven't listened to this song and I haven't listened to Trevor Hall in so long. I don't know who Trevor Hall is other than what you told me about him. But okay. Sorry. Here we go. It's a lot. It's a lot. Life is very real, right? Life is very real. But at the same time, it's about as real as you realize it to be. Just kidding. Where do I even start? Where do I even start? First off, I'm not taunting anyone. There's only compassion, like so much love for you. I believe that love lasts forever. I believe that love lasts forever. And I believe everything happens for a reason, right? And I believe that you have your own entourage of angels. Everyone everyone has their own belief, their own journey, right? Their own destiny. Shout out to the most beautiful um person in the world. What the heck? Not now. Not now. But yes, I believe everybody has their own entourage of angels. What? We'll restart. It's been 3 minutes. Wait, update outside of active hours. Outside of active hours. Okay, that sounds cool. Um, if it's outside of active hours, uh, yes. I was about to say I can't stress this enough, but not even stress it enough. Just you have your own entourage of angels. I hope you know you're not alone. Here we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's action. I already said it
I
once.
didn't know how to start off
Action
this
again.
live,
Action. Okay.
and I have no. I don't think I've ever seen this, or I know it, unless she put me on and I forgot about it. But this got no grabber. I'll roll it without grabber. Hit me up. I'm live right now because um everybody has their own heart and their own passion, their own voice, something to say. I hope you sing whatever song is on your heart. Whatever you have to say, I hope you say it, because if you have something to say, that means there's somebody that's meant to hear it. Even if my um even if right now I have no. See, it's 1 viewer, 0 viewers, either way. I have no. Right. 0. Right. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day,
Nikola Tesla, famed and mysterious scientist, inventor and proponent.
we'll get to that. Okay. But yeah, I just want to say, love yourself. That's all. And love God. And know thyself.
I called Uncle Joe. He told me about Bill.
Whoa. His voice just brought me back. I'm not taunting, but I can't do this right now. I'm I'm gonna sleep at some point, and then after I wake up and I'm refreshed, I'll be able to listen to the song. But sorry, I'm so sorry. Listen, hey, I don't know how to articulate this. It's like, imagine if you, as a man were, I was working at this warehouse, right? And I fell in love. I fell in love, and I just wanted to express that I'm still in love, and I believe love lasts forever. I believe love lasts forever. Um, love yourself and love God. Sorry. Okay. Dead air. I can't really react to this album right now. Kanye dropped an album, right? Kanye dropped Bully finally, and I can't react to it right now. Jeez, man. Well, happy Good Friday. That's something I also wanted to say. That was skimpy. And that was gonna be before the live joint. That's what that was. I got a real fat if I'm live. But the name of this episode, I'm gonna maybe retitle it to Dead Air, cause oh my goodness. I'm just thinking in my head, like, where do I start? Like, literally, like, where do I start? All right, here we go. Boom. We're gonna react to something, but no, I'm not even gonna think about where to start. I'm just gonna express this. Even if nobody watches this live, live stream is so. Why does this turn in green? Microphone in use by Google Chrome OBS. Google Chrome. Oh, okay.
Very impressive.
Is that what that was? Obviously. Alright, restart the live. Microphone in use by OBS Studio. Sorry. Okay, Abraham. Let's react to more Abraham. I'm gonna react to Abraham. But before I do that, I'm just gonna go. I was thinking, like, where do I start? Do I restart the live stream? But no. I could edit this if I really wanted to, but I'm just gonna keep it how it is. Probably I could make a cool edit in the future. When I'm back with her, and we could talk about how much we've grown and got to know ourselves and God. Excuse me. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear me yap, but I want to say, I was working at this warehouse, and I remember seeing the crack in the warehouse, and the sun was coming through, and it was like, dang, that's beautiful. And it reminded me of my soulmate who I was talking to at the time, and it was like, wow, like, I can't wait to see her. It was like, you ever, when you're working and it's like very mundane and painful and you don't want to be doing it. It was like that until I met her, It was like, oh my goodness, jeez, Louise. Hold up, hold up. Excuse me, sorry. So it was like, geez Louise, man. It was like, oh my goodness. I met her, and my whole life when I met her, like, there's certain things that obviously you forget, and you're like, oh wow, I wish I could remember everything. But there's certain things you remember, right? Where it's like, I remember my life going from like so boring, because I was at a point in my life when I was like, okay, let me just chill for a second and just make music. I wanted to make enough money so I could get a microphone and make music, and just, I thought I could make a song that could heal somebody, because my guidance counselor healed me when I was young and dumb and a bad kid. But yeah. Wait, we'll get back to this. We're gonna react to this. But yeah, I'll never forget that my guidance counselor, he could see that I was over it. Like, how some people just hated being at school. I was one of the kids that I hated being at school. So I was like, I hate this. And he could see I hated it. And he was like, you should see that this is all a game, and you should just play it like it's a game. And at the time, my dad was dead, right? I was in high school, and I was in the guidance counselor office, and when he said that, I was just like, that makes a lot of sense. I was listening to Alan Watts, and Alan Watts talks about that. He'll be like, life is a game, in the sense that you don't have to take it too seriously. Jesus Christ probably had a great sense of humor, right? So yeah, I thought I could, the same effect that my guidance counselor had on me, where he kind of opened up my eyes to what I want to be in life, or not even what I want to be, but he opened my eyes. It was like, oh wow, this guy understands me. Like, I thought all these guys were racist. Like, my whole school I thought was like racist. So I was like, wow, he understands me. This is crazy. Like, me and him are seeing eye to eye, and he's like 50 years old. It doesn't matter how old he is, but I'm at the time, I'm like, this is beautiful, right? I'm taking weed. Just kidding. I took acid and mushrooms probably later in my life, but yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason.
We are walking through the story of the Bible.
Let's do this one. How Abraham and Melchizedek point forward to Jesus, the Royal Priest series, episode 2.
Focusing on the role of priests,
And that story begins with God creating a garden called Eden.
where heaven and earth are one.
And God places humans in the garden to be his royal image, his priests, so that humans and God can work together as one. And this whole setup is called God's blessing.
But tragically, the priestly humans are duped into rebelling against God and then exiled from the garden.
But God promises that one day a descendant will come to defeat that evil deceiver and restore humanity as royal priests. And we learn he'll be both a priest and a sacrifice.
But as it stands, humanity is outside of Eden, and things have spiraled into chaotic violence.
But God chooses from the wreckage a couple, Abraham and Sarah. And God calls them to journey to the land of Canaan, and he promises to give them a huge family and all the blessings of Eden.
Now, the blessing isn't just for them. The goal is that God's blessing flows.
The story of the Bible is so beautiful. I just had to say that. Like, in the Bible, in the Bible, it's been passed down throughout time, so many different translations. If you're a king or a ruler and you have power and position and you want to say add something to the Bible or take away something from the Bible, if you want to take away something from the Bible, you could do that if you're like the king or a ruler. And Jesus Christ said you could do all things through Christ who gives you strength, and that you will do greater things than I. You know, the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Through their family out to all the nations.
And so that makes Abraham's family like a priesthood.
So is Abraham that royal priest we've been hoping for?
Well, no. But Abraham does meet a mysterious figure who reminds us of that promised royal priest.
And who is this?
Well, Abraham is returning victorious from a risky battle, and he passes by the city of Shalem, and this king comes out to meet him. And we're told that this king is also a priest who serves the same God that Abraham does.
Ah, yes, Melchizedek. This man's a mystery. We don't know why he worships Abraham's God. We don't even know his family lineage.
Exactly. But here's what happens. Melchizedek brings this great feast out to Abraham and his army, and then he gives God's blessing to Abraham, saying God is the one who gave him this victory over his enemies. Then Abraham gives Melchizedek 1/10 of everything that he has, and that's the story.
So, what is it all about?
Well, Melchizedek is the king and the priest of Shalem, which is an ancient name short for Jerusalem.
Ah, Jerusalem, which will later become the capital of Abraham's future family, where the temple is built. And that 10% that Abraham gives Melchizedek, that's just like the 10% Israelites will later give to honor the priests who work in the temple.
Exactly. And so here is Abraham, the father of the Israelites, and he's honoring a royal priesthood that existed long before Israel's temple or their priests.
Ah, Melchizedek.
Yeah, he's super important, and we'll come back to him when we get to the story of David.
Okay, back to Abraham. We find out that he and Sarah are unable to have kids, and they're really old, so how are they going to have a family?
Well, they scheme up their own plan. Sarah forces her Egyptian slave to produce a child with Abraham. But once that happens, Sarah ends up despising her slave and oppressing her.
So instead of trusting God for a family, they do it on their own terms.
Right. And so God eventually does give them their own son, Isaac, but then God promptly asks for the life of that son back.
Abraham is called to offer up Isaac on a mountain as a sacrifice.
And we're told this is a test. God's requiring Abraham to own up to his failures, to stop his scheming, and to surrender his family's future to God.
Abraham and Isaac go up the mountain, build an altar, and right as Abraham is about to offer up his son,
God stops him, and he provides a substitute ram that can be sacrificed in Isaac's place. And here, the narrator stops the story and starts speaking to you, the reader, saying, "This is why we today say, on the mountain of Yahweh, it will be provided."
the mountain of Yahweh, that's Jerusalem.
That's right. And so notice, in both of these stories we've looked at, Abraham is near that high place that will later be called Jerusalem.
In the first story, Abraham meets a royal priest, and in the second story, God provides a substitute sacrifice that covers for the sins of Abraham's family.
Yes, and both of these stories point forward to the need for a future royal priest who will also become a sacrifice for the sins of Abraham and his family.
From here, Abraham's family grows to become an entire people, but they eventually end up as slaves in Egypt. And so, how can a group of slaves produce a royal priest?
Exactly. And so that brings us to Moses, whose story we're going to look at next.
On to the next one. Moses. Moses, where you at? Moses and Aaron. Shout out to Bible Project. I am at a loss for words as far as like the things I wanted to say, like right here, right here.
Earth are one.
I forget where it is, but the whole story. I remember reading it with my soulmate, and it's like, I'm not taunting you, but I didn't mean to say that. I'm not taunting you by saying I'm not taunting you, because I've said it 5 times now, so I guess I don't have to say it anymore. But I'm not taunting you. I don't have to say it anymore. I guess I seriously though am not taunting you. Like, if I had a car right now, I would pull up and I would be like, "Yo, I am not taunting you." What was I saying?
And God placed.
Oh yeah, reading the Bible was magical. Wesley Huff. Moses though? Why not? Moses and Aaron.
The story of the Bible begins in a garden temple with a couple, Adam and Eve, as God's royal priests.
They're supposed to partner with God to take care of creation, and this place where heaven and earth are one is filled with God's blessing.
But Adam and Eve were led astray by a deceptive creature and exiled from God's presence. Their vocation as priests is lost. And with that, all humanity descends into violence. But God promises that a new royal priest will come to lead them back into the blessing of Eden by sacrificing himself.
So later on, we meet a new couple, Abraham and Sarah. God promises that through their family, the royal priest will come to restore the Eden blessing, not just for them, but for all the nations. And so it's this family that grows to become the Israelites. And they eventually journey to Egypt and then become enslaved under the violent rule of King Pharaoh.
So God appoints a man named Moses to represent him to Pharaoh and to mediate on Israel's behalf.
Moses confronts Pharaoh and then leads Israel out of slavery into the wilderness, where they eventually come to Mount Sinai. And here, God appears to all the Israelites, inviting them to become a kingdom of priests.
So he's inviting everyone to be priests, like Adam and Eve were priests in Eden.
Right. But it turns out the people are afraid of God, and they don't want to come close to God's presence, and so Moses goes alone up to the top of the mountain.
And up there, Moses famously gets the 10 Commandments, the first 2 being, worship Yahweh alone, and don't make idol statues.
And Moses sees some really amazing things up there. First, he sees God's heavenly temple, and then also a blueprint of it, called the pattern.
All right, the plans for the construction of the tabernacle.
Yeah, it's designed as a symbolic model of Eden, a place where heaven and earth are one. Then Moses sees something else, the pattern of a glorious human figure.
The high priest who will work in the tabernacle.
Right, and only this priest can go in and out of the sacred space on behalf of others. He's dressed in white, he wears a crown and is glowing with jewels. He's an image of the royal priest that we're waiting for.
And yet, the man who's called to be Israel's first high priest is the brother of Moses, a man named Aaron.
And while Moses is up seeing all of this, down at the foot of the mountain, Aaron is misleading the people by making an idol statue of God.
So the soon-to-be high priest is breaking the first of the 10 Commandments.
Yes. And so God gets angry, and he tells Moses that he's done with these people. He'll just start over with Moses. But Moses stands before God, and he intercedes for the Israelites. He even offers his own life as a sacrifice for their sins.
And while God doesn't take Moses' life, he does forgive the people like Moses asked.
And so when Moses comes down from the mountain, he's shining, just like the high priest that he saw in his vision. It's like he's the real priest that his brother was supposed to be, but failed.
And from here, the tabernacle is built.
And then Aaron's family is installed to the priesthood.
But really, even after this bad start?
Yeah, and actually things get even worse. God gives Aaron and his sons really precise instructions on how to act as the priests. And then on their first day on the job, Aaron's two sons violate God's commands. And because they're in a place of great privilege and responsibility, God deals severely.
They die inside the tabernacle. Things are not looking good for the priesthood of Aaron.
Right, both Aaron and his sons have failed in their priestly role, and this begins to make us think maybe God's people need a different kind of priesthood.
Maybe one that's more like Moses, who surrendered his very life over to God.
Yes, and while Moses is great, he also fails to be fully obedient to God, and so both he and Aaron die outside the land promised to Abraham.
So Moses was only an image of the kind of priest that God's people will need.
Right, we're still waiting for this ultimate royal priest who will intercede like Moses and offer his life for the failures of others.
The Israelites eventually make it into the promised land, and there they appoint a king and establish a kingdom. Perhaps now God's royal priest can arrive.
Then this brings us to King David, and his story is what we're going to look at next.
Nope. I want to go to right now. We're gonna learn Jesus. Sure. I didn't mean to do all this. Yeshua, Jesus, Yeshua. Sorry. If you type in Yeshua, you get this. It starts off. That's a good sign. Wait, this is a good sign. This video might not be bad. What is this? Sorry, here we go. Wait,
If
no.
you were taught to worship Jesus, but never to become like him, if you've said his name 1,000 times and still felt like something was missing, this
Raul,
might...
I appreciate the computer, Raul. You're not getting
Imagine
this computer
making
back, by the way.
$453,000
time I
in a
hop on this
single month
computer is to
as
go
an
live.
affiliate marketer without
It's worth it. I'm gonna go live more often, Raul. So
If
can
you were
see.
taught to worship Jesus, but never to become like him, if you've said his name 1,000 times and still felt like something was missing, this might be the moment your soul has been waiting for. Because what if the name we were given, Jesus, was never the name spoken in the sacred tongue? What if the original name wasn't just a name, it was a vibration,
Ayo, sway.
Jesus was never the name. This might be the moment your soul has been waiting for. Because what if the name we were given, Jesus, was never the name spoken in the sacred tongue? What if the original name wasn't just a name, it was a vibration, a code, a map back to the divine? They didn't just change his name, they buried a key. And today you're about to uncover it. This isn't a history lesson or a church sermon, it's a memory. And by the time we are done, you won't just know why they changed his name, you'll know what it unlocks inside of you. Let's begin with the truth they hid in plain sight. The man you know as Jesus was never called that. Not by his mother, not by his followers. His name was Yeshua. In the ancient world, a name was never a mere label.
Big ups to Jesus. Shout out to the Esoteric Path. Don't copyright strike me, please. Also, Bible Project. Please don't copyright me.
In Hebraic and Egyptian
Please.
traditions,
I'm
to know the name of a being was to have a connection to its essence.
Shout out to
its
that one time I talked to Siri and I was like, "Hey Siri," or maybe I was like, "Hey Siri." I don't know. I said it too high pitched, and that's why my soulmate broke up with me.
power. A name
Yo, I'm not taunting, by the way. I'm not taunting.
was a
I'm lit. Dabs will do you. A dab will do you.
formula, a frequency. And the name Yeshua, which means salvation, was an energy spoken from the soul. It was a living declaration, a name that couldn't be owned because it was too alive, too activating. A name that didn't point to a man to be worshipped, but to a state of being to be realized. And when a name wakes up the soul and reminds it of its own power, institutions tremble. This is the key. The powers that sought to build a religion around him knew that to control the message, they first had to control the man's identity. And that's
Whoa. Sorry. The powers, the guy's trying to create a religion around him. This guy's getting real deep.
Institutions tremble. This is the key. The powers that sought to build a religion around him knew that to control the message.
Hey, yo. Frick them. Frick those guys. Trying to build a religion out of God's message.
They first had to
For real, yo. Not cool. Don't get me started.
Control the man's identity. And that started with changing his name. To understand the change, we must look not to a temple, but to the throne rooms of power. We must look to the 4th century, to the Roman Emperor Constantine and the Council of Nicaea. The empire was fracturing and Constantine needed a unifying force, a single creed to bind his subjects. The raw, mystical, and decentralized movement of the followers of Yeshua was too wild to be controlled.
What is this video? What is real life? Yo. Take me back to 2016 when this was not on YouTube. None of this stuff. Literally, all of this right here was not on YouTube. Oh my god, I miss it. It was just Alan Watts in my head. In my head, Charlie bit my finger. Snake. Ravenous snake. Charlie bit. Ouch, Charlie. That really hurt, Charlie, and it's still hurting. I used to love to say that. And there's a black guy who's like, and then I found she don't love me anymore. Bro. I can't, bro. Wait, I can. I'd rather this be on YouTube than bro got choked out. That's so crazy. Bro got choked out. I don't even want to see Cab choked out. Do I? All these are valid. Oh, here we go. This Clav. I don't know the guy's name. Clav.
Go. Just make sure it's to the sides of the.
I don't know if I can show this. I don't know. Alright.
It had
Palate cleanser. Clavicular getting choked out.
to be domesticated. This is how Yeshua, the Awakener, became Jesus, the Romanized deity. They filtered the name through their empires.
I hate the AI voice. That's AI, obviously, right? Why, bro? You can't get a British guy that sounds like that? Is that a real British guy? That would be crazy. Wait. Support the channel. Now AIs are asking for support.
The original Hebrew name, Yeshua, lost its breathy
Just kidding, by the way.
she sound, a sound that doesn't exist in Greek. Yeshua became Iesus in Greek. Iesus became Iesus in Latin, the language of the empire. Centuries later, with the addition of the letter J to the English alphabet, it became Jesus. With each step, the essence was diluted. With each translation, the sacred vibration was stripped away. They did more than change a name. They performed a spiritual inversion. A mystic who taught of the kingdom within.
Shut up. Who lives on the pineapple under the...
Was turned into a king who ruled from a heaven without. A guide who showed the path to becoming was transformed into a God who was forever separate from you. They turned an inner awakening into outer obedience. From the Christ within to a Christ enthroned and forever out of reach. Now let's go deeper into the code itself. The name Yeshua is a master key, composed of 4 sacred Hebrew letters. Yod represents the divine spark, the seed of potential, the finger of God. Shin is the eternal flame, the fire of the Spirit that transforms and purifies.
I just realized, is he making this all up or is this real? This guy just speaking all facts, and I'm dumb. Some of what he said is true. I know that. Yeshua, you know. Okay.
Vav is the nail, the
Don't copyright strike me. I love you, Esoteric Path.
connection that binds the heavens to the earth, the divine to the human. Ayin is the eye, not the physical eye, but the eye of the soul, perception beyond sight. Together they don't just spell a name, they spell out a process. The divine spark, through the fire of spirit, connects you to spiritual sight. The name Yeshua was one of the rare names that contained a hidden echo of the unpronounceable name of God, the sacred 4 letters, YHVH. It was seen as a living manifestation of the Logos, the divine word that creates worlds. Say it slowly with me now.
Next time. He was on Bryce Crawford. There it is.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation.
I don't think I'm going to heaven. I think I failed God. I think I failed the church. I'm f***ed up because I'm living in that thing where I'm trying to keep everything
I saw this like the day it came out, but it was good.
together. My family's happiness, my happiness, me being me wanting to seek more and more and more, and God is saying, when are you going to get enough?
What do you want?
I don't know.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Bryce Crawford Podcast. I'm Bryce, and today I got a special guest with us today. We got Tekashi
I know what I want.
6ix9ine.
Not the best of the best.
I've never seen teeth like yours before. You have
Yeah.
some great teeth.
Yeah, just go to Colombia and you see 1,000 pairs of these.
Are they? So how long have you had those teeth?
I think I renewed it in
I'm from a small town. I'm from north of Atlanta, about an hour. I didn't grow up listening to rap. Yeah. But there was one rapper I listened to. It was Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, before I was a
That's
Christian,
dope.
when I was in middle school, and my alarm on my phone was Gooba.
Oh, yeah?
I changed my mind. What do I do? I'll open up in case. I know I don't have chat, but I'll open it up in case I do have chat. Because they could yell at me if I had chat. And say, no, go back to 6ix9ine. If you care enough, tell me to go back to 6ix9ine. But it was Good Friday yesterday, so Good Friday. Happy Good Friday. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Why is it called Good Friday?
When most people hear the phrase Good Friday,
I hate AI. I think I actually
their first reaction is often confusion. How can a day be called good when it's the day Jesus Christ was nailed to a cross, a day filled with
we know why it's called Good Friday. Just let me get a guy like this guy to talk about it real quick. This guy is smarter than me.
Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. So in this season, this time in the church year, we meditate on the cross, we reflect on the cross. And it's interesting because from the very beginning of Christianity, St. Paul called the cross of Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. The power of God and the wisdom of God, which makes no sense to us, right? Here's the power of God, Jesus Christ, God himself, God and man, completely humiliated, completely powerless, completely stripped. That's the power of God. Dead on a cross. The wisdom of God? Like, how in the world is that wise? And Paul recognized that cross would be it's a sign of contradiction, right? Jesus, it was prophesied that he would be a sign of contradiction by the prophet Simeon in the beginning of Luke's gospel, the beginning of Jesus' life. The cross is always both out of place and the cross is always 100% relevant. You know, for the first centuries, actually,
My fault. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back.
I would say even millennia and a half or more of Christianity, the cross is God's answer for our sin. That here we are in justice, we recognize that we're sinners, that we're separated from God, that we choose to say no to God, we choose to use each other, we choose to reject God, we choose to not be the people God has called us to be. And the cross is God's answer for our sin. The cross is how God wins back our souls. Because why? Because in justice, we deserve not God. In justice, if I say I don't want you, God, I deserve not to not get God. I get that. In justice, I'm on trial. And that's how Christians saw themselves, how people saw themselves, like, I'm on trial, and yet then the Son of God takes my place. And in that, he wins back my soul. It's remarkable. It's true. It's called vicarious atonement, where instead of me suffering, Jesus is the vicarious atonement. He's the one who suffers in my place. I was on trial. I was guilty. And the cross now.
Before I met my soulmate, like right before I met my soulmate, I remember I asked God for my soulmate. I asked God for her, and then we met. And I remember, like, learning about myself and learning about her. I just remember saying, like, everything that she has to give me. Wow, this is deep. Because I was thinking everything she has to give me, like anything negative, anything positive, I'm going to give to Jesus, give to God. And it turns out in the end, the hardest thing in the world was to give it all to God. To give her to God was the hardest thing in the world. It still is. I still give her to God all the time. And no jokes about it here. I literally, like, I've cried giving her to God. Like, it's a process, you know. Everybody's different, and the process is gonna take as long as you believe it to be, you know.
Is how God wins back my soul. But something interesting happened in the last, I don't know, 100 plus, 200 years maybe. And that thing is, the way we saw ourselves and God changed. And how we saw ourselves as not ourselves being on trial. We looked around the world and we saw all the sin in the world. We saw all the brokenness in the world. We saw this way plus. But something interesting happened in the last, I don't know, 100 plus, 200 years maybe. And that thing is, the way we saw ourselves and God changed. And how we saw ourselves as not ourselves being on trial. We looked around the world and we saw all the sin in the world. We saw all the brokenness in the world. We saw all the suffering in the world. Now it's not any more sin, suffering, and brokenness than other people saw in previous years, previous ages. We saw it from a different lens, a different viewpoint. And our different lens or different viewpoint was this, was God, if you actually are good, and if you actually are, the way we saw ourselves and God changed. And how we saw ourselves as not ourselves being on trial. We looked around the world and we saw all the sin in the world. We saw all the brokenness in the world. I was guilty. And the cross now is how God wins back my soul. But something interesting happened in the last, I don't know, 100 plus, 200 years maybe. And that thing is, the way we saw ourselves and God changed. And how we saw ourselves as not ourselves being on trial. We looked around the world and we saw all the sin in the world. We saw all the brokenness in the world. We saw all the suffering in the world. Now it's not any more sin, suffering, and brokenness than other people saw in previous years, previous ages. We saw it from a different lens, a different viewpoint. And our different lens or different viewpoint was this, was God, if you actually are good, and if you actually are powerful, then you would remove all this suffering. God, if you were powerful, you'd remove all this sin. God, if you were truly good, you would actually take away our pain. And we come before.
He sounds like He sounds like me in 2017 to 2018. Actually, he sounds like me in 2016, which I was 16 years old, by the way. I've heard Neil deGrasse Tyson go, "If God is all powerful and all good."
Before God, not with ourselves being on trial, but we place God.
Sorry. No, I'm not making fun of this guy.
Truly good, you would actually take away our pain. And we come before God, not with ourselves being on trial, but we place God on trial. We put God on trial and say, how dare you not.
I am literally not making fun of this guy, by the way. Like, that wasn't a joke. Like, I joke a lot. Two serious things. Or many serious things, I guess. But two very serious things. I'm not taunting. And the thing I just said.
Not do anything in the face of suffering. God, how dare you not do anything in the face of my pain? And crazy thing is this, the cross is still the answer. The power of God and the wisdom of God is still the answer. Why? Because in ancient days, when we saw ourselves as being on trial, and the cross is God's answer, the cross is how God wins back our soul. When we place God on trial, the cross is still the answer. Because the cross is how God wins back our trust. Because he allows all that evil and all that suffering and all that pain to overwhelm him. The image of Jesus on the cross not only is a sign of, oh my gosh, that's how much you love me. You win back my soul, God, because I'm guilty. But it's also, here's how humble you are. Here's how powerful you are. Here's how wise you are. Because you also let yourself be completely stripped. You let yourself be completely overwhelmed by the suffering and the evil and the death.
That being said, I guess I didn't have to sit there, 2 years ago? I didn't have to lie in a bed and think, God, Jesus Christ, let me feel what you felt on the cross. Let me get that amount of pain, if that's what's meant for me. Why did I ask for that? Was that why I got kicked out? I don't know.
In the world. Why? So that when I look at the cross, the image of Jesus on the crucifix, I say, that's the God who loves. That's the God who knows my heartbreak. That's the God who knows our suffering. That's the God who wins back our trust. When you look at Jesus on the cross, you see a God you can trust. You know, when I first thought of this, or realized it, I guess, it got me mad. I was like, man, stupid modern man, we're so dumb. I can't believe we put God on trial. I'm the one on trial. I'm guilty. He's not guilty. And then I read something from Pope Benedict XVI, and it was just like, he recognized the same thing. And he said, that's good. It's okay. And I was like, what are you talking about, Pope Benedict? How is that fine? He's like, because God is so good. He's so powerful and he's so wise that the cross is going to always be the answer. For every question, every challenge that we ever could bring before the Lord, the cross will always be the answer. And if the question comes,
bro,
a new question comes.
How does he show that much? How is he showing that much teeth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You can see half his teeth right there. Should I talk with my mouth more open?
Comes up in the next decade or the next century or the next millennia, the cross will still be God's answer. The question of, what do I do with my sin? The cross is how God wins back my soul. The cross is God's answer to, God, can I really trust you? God emptying himself on the cross is how God wins back our trust. And if you have another question, I'm telling you, the cross will be the answer, because the cross is God's answer, and it is the power of God, and it is the wisdom of God, and it answers all questions. This Holy Week, this Good Friday, this life, I invite you, do not remove Christ and the cross from your life, because you'll always have a cross. We'll always have a pain. And if we remove Christ's cross from my life, I won't not have a cross, I'll still have the pain, but I won't have him. Hold on to the cross. Let it be before your eyes every day. and let the power of God and the wisdom of God be the answer of God for all your questions. From all of us here at Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless.
That was good. Shout out to Ascension Presents Good Friday 8 years ago. Sheesh. Well, no, it's not. It's about to be Sunday. It's about to be Sunday. What just happened?
If you've ever heard the phrase, the Holy Spirit, and you want to know what it means, where do you start?
Well, you have to start on page 1 of the Bible, where the uncreated world is...
Shout out to when me and my soulmate watch these videos. Shout out to the Bible Project. Dang, man. This is about as close as I'm gonna get to in this now moment, unless I walk 20 miles. Or pull up on me. Let's watch Bible Project. But until then, I'll just be watching it by myself. I'll just be watching it by myself until then.
Depicted as this dark, chaotic place, but then above the chaos, God's Spirit is there, hovering, ready to bring about life and order and beauty.
Okay, but what is God's Spirit?
Yeah, so the Spirit is the way the biblical authors talk about God's personal presence. The Hebrew word is ruach.
Ruach.
Yeah, you gotta clear your throat at the end.
So what is it?
Well, ruach can refer to a number of different things, but what they all have in common is energy.
Energy, how so?
So there's an invisible energy that makes the clouds move or the tree branches sway.
Right, wind.
So in Hebrew, that's ruach.
Okay.
Now take a big breath. So you feel that inside you.
Yeah, the air?
Well, specifically the energy, right? The vitality in your body that you get from breathing deeply, that too is ruach. And this is the same word used in the Bible to describe God's personal presence. Just like wind and breath are invisible, God's Spirit is invisible. Wind is powerful, and so God's Spirit is powerful. And just as breath keeps us alive, so God's Spirit sustains all of life.
Yeah, ruach.
Now, as we continue on in the story of the Bible, we see God's Ruach giving special empowerment to people for specific tasks. The first person in the Bible this happens to is Joseph.
God's Spirit enables him to understand and interpret dreams.
And then it happens to this guy named Bezalel, and he's an artist.
God's Spirit empowers him with wisdom and skills. He's given creative genius to make beautiful things in the tabernacle.
And we also see God's Ruach empower a group of people called the prophets.
They're able to see what's happening in history from God's point of view.
That's exactly right. And here's the problem as the prophets saw it. While God's Ruach had created a really good world, humans have given in to evil. They've unleashed chaos into it through their injustice.
A new type of disorder.
Yes, and the prophet said the Spirit would come, just like in Genesis 1, but now to transform the human heart, to empower people to truly love God and others.
How will this new act of God's Spirit happen?
Well, centuries pass, and we are introduced to Jesus. And at the beginning of his mission, there's this beautiful scene where Jesus is being baptized in the waters of the Jordan River.
Yeah, the sky opens up and God's Spirit comes and rests on him like a bird.
The story is saying that God's Spirit is empowering Jesus to begin the new creation. And we see this happening when he heals people or forgives their sins. He's creating life where there once was death.
Now, Israel's religious leaders oppose Jesus, and they eventually have him killed.
But even here, God's Spirit is at work. The earliest disciples of Jesus, who saw him alive from the dead, said it was God's energizing Spirit that raised Jesus.
This is the beginning of new creation.
Yes, and it's still going. When Jesus appeared to his closest followers, he breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit."
And soon after that, the Spirit powerfully comes on all of his disciples.
So that they can become a part of this new creation and share the good news and learn how to live by the energy and
Shout out to that time me and my soulmate went to Michigan and we were in a tent, and I held her, and I did my breathing practice where it's just pretty much you take long inhales, and then hold, and then exhale. Maybe even ideally the exhale is longer than the inhale, so But yeah, it's been a minute since I was holding her, breathing with her. But I could feel as my breathing continued and peace was coming about, and I was letting Jesus Christ and God flow through me. I could feel more peaceful, right? But I could also feel her shift as well, I feel like.
Influence of God's Spirit.
And so, today, the Spirit is still hovering in dark places.
Yes, pointing people to Jesus, transforming and empowering them so they can love God and others. And the Christian hope is that the Spirit is going to finish the job. The story of the Bible ends with a vision of a new humanity, living in a new world that's permeated with God's love and life-giving Spirit.
Hey, thanks for watching this video on the Holy Spirit. This is one of many videos that we make where we take a biblical theme and trace it from the beginning to the end.
But yeah. I'm about to feast. How do I go to OBS? Did I break it? I'm about to feast. I don't think wow, my bandana was crooked this whole time. Just kidding. But God bless anyone that tapped in. I don't know. I can't tell if there's a viewer. I see my live right here though. I think I'm on. It says one watching. I think that might be me. Pretty sure that's me. Yeah. I didn't think it counted as a viewer, but now I know it does. But yes, God bless anyone that tapped in. Happy Friday. Happy Saturday. It's almost Sunday. The Lord's Day. Yeah. I wanted to come on here because I wanted to express my love and my gratitude. And I want to say I'll see you soon, but it's like maybe our perspectives are different because, well, everybody's perspective, I guess, is different, and their destiny and everyone has their own individual journey of the soul, right? Everybody goes on their own. Before we were even physical, we chose this life, right? We chose what our destiny would be, aka our life theme. The theme of life that we've chosen to live is, destined. It's something that you set out to do, right? And there's nothing I'm more passionate about in the world, and there's nothing I want more in the world. So it's like, isn't that my destiny? The conflicting part about this all is that everybody has their own destiny, so I feel like that's my destiny. At least, like, maybe make a song that helps somebody, helps a kid out there. But also, I feel like it's my destiny to be with, destiny. I can't speak. Wow. I gotta cut that. Officially gotta cut that. But I'm gonna, it's like, yeah. It's like she has her own, her name is literally Destiny, and she has her own destiny. I don't know if she's watching this right now, but I'm gonna post this live, or keep this live up. This is not gonna get deleted, but it's like, if you have your own destiny and you feel like it's not me, it's like, then what, or like, what do I do about that? You know, other than make a song for some kid and give him hope like my guidance counselor did. But yes, God bless anyone that tapped in, tuned in. I'm about to make some waffles with cacao. COCAO. I gotta make a song about cacao. It's so good. I'm about to make a waffle with some honey and cacao. You know, dark chocolate, real chocolate cacao. It's so good. Like, it's so like healthy for you. And also it tastes really good with honey and peanut butter. And you can make chocolate milkshakes. Okay. But yeah. God bless anyone that tapped in. Bye. Have a good time. Peace. Peace. Peace be with you always. Before I go, last thing I'm gonna say. I'm gonna, just so I can remind myself, I'll write it down or something. But also, it's here on record now. I used to always say, may peace be with you. But that hurts to give you to God. But I give you to God even when it hurts. So thank you, God. I give you everything. Bye. Have a good time.